Hello, everyone. Very quickly, just to say a few words. Albert does not need really any introduction.
Oh, yes, I do.
But I think that we all clearly visualize his distinctive creative work in directing the House of Lanvin since he took it in 2001 and reinvented it so iconically. During his 14 years tenure, his designs for Lanvin touched, marveled, and brought contemporary significance to a name that belonged to French cultural heritage and which, under his direction, was transformed in the House of Lanvin into a leading fashion business and a statement brand. So, testimony of which are the numerous accolades and awards Albert was to receive during that tenure, and among others, and the latest, I believe, was the award of the Légion d'honneur, which is the highest honor.
It's this here. Where is it? See the red? I'll go to the light.
There it is. It is a major honor, and that was last October in 2016. I just would like to conclude to say that I remember few little bits of memory. I remember the subtle elegance of an Afro-style lineup at Guilaroche, a standing ovation farewell for your living show at Yves Saint Laurent, Rive Gauche. That was very moving. And the global frenzy you created with H&M and that capsule collection. And also just the pleasure to see your clothes hanging in Dover Street or in your own stores, the attention to detail, the attention to femininity, to glamour.
You should try them. They're also very comfortable.
They are. And those probably, I don't know. But actually, as a very good friend of mine always say to me, Fabio, if you were a woman, I'm sure you would be wearing Lanvin, which actually I agree. So enough of me speaking. Alber Elbaz, welcome.
Thank you. You know, talking about clothes and comfort, and once we opened our store in Madison, we did a big party, crazy party. I like crazy party. And we had like all these drag queens come, and they were all wearing Lanvin. And they were dancing and jumping like there was no tomorrow. And one of them came to me in the end of the party, like 3, 4 in the morning, and said, "Can I tell you something, sir?" And I said, sure, call me madam. And he says, "I love Lanvin." And more than that, you know, it's so comfortable. Now, to hear a compliment like that from a drag queen, that they will go with anything as long as it's gorgeous, and they are talking about comfort, it's amazing. You know, just before I came here, I was like dying to go to the loo because I was so nervous, and there were two. There were one man and one handicap. I chose the handicap. So here we are. You know, my speech is going to be sometime a little bit sad, sometime a little bit funny, sometime a little bit serious. But this is what life is all about. A bit sad, a bit funny, and a bit serious. Just we have to choose the right ingredient. And it is my first time here in Saint Martin since Louise, my friend, is no longer with us. I thought I will never come and visit you anymore. And I thought I would never take any more students from Saint Martin. Because for me, Louise was Saint Martin. And if she's gone and the building there is gone, forget it, I'm not coming. A few years ago, when Louise left us, I was asked to say a few words at the memorial at St. Paul Cathedral. And it was very hard for me. The cathedral had the highest ceiling I had ever seen in my entire life. I realized how small we people are. Then there were so many priests, and there were so many choral, and there was a gorgeous black horse outside with a beautiful black cape that the very talented Sarah Burton did. And I heard so many moving speeches, and I heard the Lord, and I heard the Lord so many times, and in my mind, I heard Louise saying, "Fuck every other word." I said in my speech, And I thought to change the speech, because I thought, oh my God, it's not the right speech here. But I said in my speech that Louise was my tango partner. Can you imagine Louise and I dancing tango? I was asking, who do you think is more fat, Louise or me? I was really thinking that she was my tango partner. Tango, everybody says that it's very sexy, very erotic dance. I said that tango is, forget sexy, it's all about trust. It's a dance of trust, because it's that moment that you close your eyes and you lean over your partner, him or her, and you can let them lead you, even if it's a dark oval room. And I'm not talking about the White House. I trusted Louise with my eyes shut. Every year I will come to the school to do some interviews. And before the interviews, we used to go to eat Chinese. We ate a lot. And then she told me, you don't need interview. Just take this person, and I'll be, okay. And sometimes she said, take her, but don't take him. Take him, take her. And there were never too many choices, never two options, just one. And I trusted her. Last year, I saw your show online. The show was so good. It was gorgeous, actually. The show was different. It was all I love in fashion today. And I can still remember, believe it or not, with all the image that we see online, some of your designs. I was dying to come back to school and to tell you how much I loved it. But I didn't dare to do it myself, because I'm a bit of a chicken, a roasted chicken. I was waiting for Fabio to call me, and he did, and I'm here. So thank you, Fabio, for inviting me back to St. Martin. I see that you're doing a great work, and everybody knows that you had big shoes to fill. And I don't mean big in size. I mean big shoes to fill. But I heard, Fabio, that you're also a very nice person, and how fabulous it is to work with nice people. I always said that bitches are killing my creativity. I can't, I'm blocked. I thought that the show was not just beautiful, but I thought that it was different, it was unique. It didn't look like any replica of any other show from any other year. I think that the most important things in fashion today is to be different. Don't be generic, be you. And don't create generic bags, create new bags. When there are so many brands and so many shows and so many designers and so many competitors, blah, 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 there is only one way to go. Be you. That's the only way to win. Be you. Listen, get advices, but stay yourself. There are a lot of people here today, I see. And I see some of my friends, and I see my first friends, the journalists I see. Susie's coming and supporting me, and some other journalists that are here. Thank you for coming. I was always afraid of the press. I was always afraid of the press review after the show. We called it the disaster of the day after. I always felt after the show like a victim in front of the high Supreme Court of fashion. It feels like waiting for a verdict when you are just a criminal designer. Until one day I realized that the judges are just human beings, like the designers. And they are maybe tired of going to so many shows in one day, and maybe they miss their family after 1 month of traveling. And they are maybe also a little bit hungry because they didn't have time to eat, and because maybe it's no longer cool to eat. Green salad with sauce on the side, a veggie hamburger, no salt, with a bun with no gluten, and a flat water, just flat as you can. No much fun. You know, I just heard a funny joke the other day that in LA, if you want to rob a jewelry store, you just have to come with a bagel. They're so scared of gluten, they'll like give you everything they want. So I decided to come and welcome everybody before the show. I mean, all the journalists and all the press and all the buyers with a little bit of drinks, some alcohol, wine, champagne, and I think it put them in a better mood. I often served food as well, sweet and salty, au choix, as they say in French. And you know what? Everybody was happier, and I got great reviews. And I always thought that the damn alcohol did the job, and it was the only reason I got the great reviews. I never thought it was me or my work. The fear of not being good enough is my personal motto, to not stop running. My trainer at the gym says that I have a mentality of an athlete, but in the head, not in the body. And my psychologist says about it that I have that syndrome of the runners to long distance, the runners that run and run and run, and there is a moment that you feel so lonely because you realize nobody is next to you. I see here also two of my favorite assistants that work with me and I adore and respect. And my dream is one day to ask all of my ex-assistants that I love to come back and work with me again. Almost like a fucked up mother that asks all her children to divorce and come back home to live with her. It's sick, I know. Natasha was my first fabulous assistant. And every time I complain about the fitting, God, so much, I mean, so long, she will come and tell me, I love fitting. I mean, fitting is fabulous. The other thing she always tried to do is to convince me that dark brown and midnight blue are colors. When the American buyers will come, you know, those ladies from America, from the department store, will be like, do you have pink? And Natasha said, brown is a color. Natasha is from Slovenia. I love you, Natasha. Frances was another one of my best and talented assistants. She was nicer than Mary Poppins. She came to Paris and didn't know one word in English, in French. And on her third day, one of my other assistants asked Frances to stand by the phone and take all her messages in French once she's gone. I was passing by and I saw Frances crying. And I said, Frances, why are you crying? But she didn't answer. And a few days later, my secretary told me this story. So you know what I did? I took the bag and the coat of that other girl and I put it in the door and I said, you are fired, because this is not the way to welcome colleagues. And you know that everyone has a teacher, and I have my own, and she's here, and she told me not to say her name, but her name is Shelley, and she was my teacher, and she still is. And you're here, all of you today, the future of fashion, and I had no idea what I was going to talk about today. What can I bring you? I knew I would be preparing that speech. Everybody think my speeches are like, just come and talk about it. It will come like easy on you. But it didn't. And I worked really hard on that speech. And I thought, okay, I'm working hard. I will be paying 300 for Eurostar, 500 for the hotel room for the night. And maybe, I mean, all these millennials designer will be coming, like looking at me and posting and sending SMS and maybe tweeting why I talk. And I thought, damn it. I mean, maybe I should let you work hard. And it reminded me of my mother that always will tell us, why do I have to kill myself when you do nothing? So I thought that the second part of my speech will be all these questions, and I'm going to let you answer. By coming here, I wanted to have a meaning. I'm here because I want to know more about you, about your generation, about your way of working. I'm here so I can push you maybe a little bit forward. I'm here to share with you my dreams. I dream to make you think, even if it's for a couple of hours. I prepared 1,000 questions for all of you. So we try to understand the world of fashion, the world we live in, just a little bit better. And you can ask me any question you want. As I said before to this guy from communication, I said, ask anything you want, don't ask my weight. That's the only thing I will not answer. Some of the questions are going to be hard to swallow, but they're also hard for me to ask. Those questions are not only necessarily my own question, but I feel that we ask those questions and we don't always have those answers. You know, the truth, Albert Einstein said that the true sign of intelligence is not the knowledge, but the imagination. And I just realized that Albert Einstein and Alber Elbaz have the same initials. I say it in a different way. I say it, sometimes, when you go to a museum and everybody try to explain you what was it and how was it and when the painter did it and in what year and that was his lover but he killed his wife, and you look and you are so much filled with information that you don't enjoy the real thing, because when you know, you can only think, and when you don't know, you can only dream. So sometimes it's not that important to know everything. Just dream. When I was in New York in Parsons a few months ago, in front of a big room like here, actually it was bigger, I brought a big bag of chocolates to everybody in the room. And the reason was that I heard that chocolate is forbidden in New York, not allowed. I believe that chocolate is the best food to the brain when you have to design. Try it. And no, I didn't have to bring you chocolate today, but I brought you instead a pencil and a notebook. Shut your iPhones, open your heart, and let's start to think together. So, where are the books? Little notebooks and pen. You remember pens, right? Listen, it's not a test, it's just a game, but it's an interesting game. And if we will have some answers after today, it will be really great. I see myself, my God, how horrible. There are 42 questions. May I start? You can write the question. You cannot write. You can send an SMS if you want. But I will just give it. Question number 1, is fast always better than slow? 2, do you think that thinking small is out and thinking big or being big-headed is in? Is thinking small right today or wrong? When you see a great show with great design online of someone else, does it make you really jealous and it kills you? Or it makes you, gives you the motivation to go and to work harder and to be better? Does it kill you? Does it make you? Do you still go to a library? Does fashion has a library? Designing today, is it just collaging? A sleeve from her, a back from there, a front from her, and boom, it's ours. Is it true? That was a hard one, I know. Is it true that you're better in finding ideas of others and all it takes is just an iPhone? Boom, boom, boom. Do you think the 70s was the best decade for fashion? Do you think it was the best era for women? Question. Just a question. Is it true that Google created a lazy generation? You don't have to go anywhere. It all comes to you directly and fast. Is ugly the new beauty? Is ugly modern? Is beautiful outdated? Do you like fashion? Do you love Instagram? Is it all about showing off? Is it all today about being loud? Can we be heard if we whisper with today's technology? A whisper is no longer a part of our vocabulary. Do you think that art, heart, and hard are three words that belong to each other? Do you think that fashion today is a reflection of today's world? And that's why fashion is a little bit harsh. Do you think that the body is the new dress? And I'll tell you a little story about that. I went once to a psychiatrist for eating disorder, because I'm a control freak, but I cannot control a pizza. So I went and spoke with him, and then one day he asked me a question. And it was not now, it was like maybe 4 years ago. And he asked, Alber, today women, he talked about women, it was more popular with women 4 years ago, they can buy anything. They can buy hair, they can buy eyes, they can buy boobs, butt, skin, eyelashes. Maybe the body is the new dress. And if the body is the new dress, what is your job? To cover it or to unveil it? And I came to my studio, and in 3 weeks I changed the collection. And I did everything in stretch, and everything was a skin color from beige to brown. And after 2 weeks of work, I was so bored just to create second skin. And my dream was to be a doctor, not at all a designer. So it kind of felt amazing to be in an operation room and to cut the skin and to create bodies. But only a few weeks later, I realized that I was just like doing skins. And I started to add leather and diamond and butterfly. And only then I realized that fashion is not really about creating a second skin. And when people I read today say, oh, it's not about a dream, it's just about reality, wrong. Fashion is about a dream of the person you want to be, a dream of the place you want to go. And do you think that tattoos are the new prints? Question. I really don't know why all these tattoos today have, they're all this like one hand, like why one hand and not like one half face? I don't know. I'll give you another question. I was one time in a session with another psychologist, I changed them. And she asked me if I can name some designer I like. So I said, sure. I said, I love Balenciaga and I love Saint Laurent and I thought Chanel was amazing and Dior, of course. And then she looked at me and she said, is there any designer that is living that you like? So I'm asking you, who are the designers that you like that are still alive? We often say about fashion that it's so sexy. Do you think that we can use another word to define fashion that also start with an S, but it's not sexy, it's smart? Can fashion be smart? What is smart fashion? Do you love me? Do you miss me in fashion? Do you think that fame is more important today than talent? I'm on 27, I have 42. Do you think that you can make it in fashion today without being a singer before? Do you still use the word cool in fashion or not at all? Is making a dress for a grandmother, size 18, for her granddaughter's wedding is really not your thing? Or it is? Does anyone know and can explain me what millennium means in fashion? Do you think that high street copying high fashion is okay or a crime? Why did you come to study fashion anyway? Why are you here this morning? Why did you choose St. Martin? Is St. Martin better than the Royal College? When you see a beautiful woman, what do you remember? The color of her eyes or the color of her dress? Do you ever look at her eyes? 37. Do you think that dressing celebrities is the only way to prove success? Do you believe that talent is still important in fashion? Do you think that school gives you all it takes to become a good designer? Is it true that you don't use pencil anymore? Is it true that you don't even know what pencil is? Do you have an answer for what is next? Thank you. Now a moment of silence to get the depression out. But it's not about that. It's about just about touching dark areas that normally we don't. Because, you know, many people think that fashion is a very funny industry, that we started our day at midday, you know, and run to do some Botox, and then we're like tipping because we drank, by mistake, champagne rather than coffee. And we arrive to the office at 3 in the afternoon, and we just like get depressed and leave. And all the people I know from fashion are people that are hardworking, that are going and working like crazy. We have a loyal industry that I refer to as almost not an industry, but a fashion family. And I can tell you that before, when Fabio was talking about my Légion d'honneur, you know, they invited me. I was recommended by the Prime Minister of France, got it at the Minister of Culture, and they told us that we will have 40 people. And I thought, wow, 40 people. Well, I'm a jobless designer now. I'm not having a house, and I don't have any advertising. So I was thinking maybe nobody will come from fashion. And then, boom, I start to see all these RSVP, and I have 350 people coming to that ceremony. And you know, those ceremonies are very, it's not a fashion show. And it was the first time that I actually invited the whole industry, but I had not one dress to show. And I can't tell you how embarrassed I was. And then my friend Frederick Mal, that is an amazing man and a perfumer, called me and asked if I would like to make a perfume with him. First I said, no, I don't think so. I'm not into those collaborations. And the next day I called and I said, yes. And I said, but Frederick, I have a question. Can you make me a perfume that smells like a dress? And he said, but what do you mean? And I said, I want that memories. I mean, a dress that you hold and you're like, oh my God, that was my mother's dress. Or, oh mama, that's my first girlfriend. And those moments that are all about memory, moment that you remember yourself where you were. And he came to Paris, and in 1 month, we did that perfume, which is almost unheard of. And we sat, and I said, can you do it and do a magic, and can we make a perfume of a dress, so when everybody comes, I don't show the dress, but at least I will give them a perfume of a dress. And he said, yes, but we don't have the bottle, we don't have a name. And I said, never mind, we just give them a little, you know, bottle with the scents that is enough. And he said, you know, I'm very superstitious. And I said, oh my God, me too. And I said, why are you superstitious? And he said, because in that industry, we never, but never, come out with a